freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 389 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is self-defense saves lives, and our guest is Raul Mendez. Raul is a survivor of a mass shooting event in a normally quiet neighborhood in Arizona. Raul used his firearm in self-defense and is living proof that guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens saves lives. Did you hear that? Saves lives.
Saves lives.
And he will continue to spread awareness and share his story in hopes that others realize the importance of protecting our God-given Second Amendment right.
Welcome to the show, Raul.
Thank you.
My goodness. I keep watching your interview with Tucker Carlson and the video you did for the NRA. And I mean, what Tucker Carlson said is so true. He said, I can't believe this is real, but clearly it is. What happened that day is really beyond belief. And I can't help but see God's hand in it. I feel like I'm hearing you say the same.
Yes. I mean, it's an unfortunate event what happened. Yes, my family and I, some friends, were gathering, 4th of July weekend on July 3rd of last year, 2022. And just an invited neighbor came in and just started opening fire at all of us. I had two friends that died. One was shot in the throat, one was shot in the head. Others were wounded, shot in the arm, shot in the shoulder. I was shot in the head. I was the second victim. So as soon as I heard the first gunshot, I turned around and he was able to catch me in the side of the head. I mean, you are correct. I don't see, God's hand in this. The only thing I do see that God gave me the strength, to get up after that gunshot wound and to do what I had to do.
Absolutely.
I definitely feel that he had a big role in, knowing that I was prepared and that I was going to be the one that he was going to give the strength to get up and, and stop this massacre from happening. And that's
absolutely.
exactly what happened. I was able to get up and just, put some bullets in, in the chest of the threat and just stop it right there.
Absolutely.
Just honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't think, well, I'm sure, there would have been more casualties that night.
Absolutely. And you pointed to one side of your head and then so it entered and then it exited at your.
Yeah, so it entered right here. There's like a little nub there. It went all the way through and it just came out of, my left eye.
That is amazing. And you have paralysis. You seem to have all of your mental faculties. That is an incredible thing. I just can't even imagine. And praise God that you are as well as you are. So,
I'm amazed that, I live in Arizona all my life and I watched the news. I didn't hear this story. Now it's really frustrating because they'll tell you about somebody that stubbed their toe or somebody that used their gun in a crime, but they never talk about how a hero saved someone's life by having a firearm.
That is correct. I mean, it's not in the agenda. I mean, as you can see right now, our God-given Second Amendment right is being threatened. And that's in the agenda, to push gun control and just, strip away our freedom. And showing stories like mine to open people's eyes and show them to finally realize that, that guns, firearms in the hands of law-abiding citizens save lives. And that's something that they don't want people to see. They just want to see the violence it causes.
Right.
So.
Well, we live in Arizona and we're in a free state. I mean, Second Amendment's really strong in Arizona, and you would think that the news would carry that same thing. But the other moving part of the story is that your family was there, and you were able to save your family from death, right?
Correct.
Absolutely. And that was kind of where I was going to go with the next question, is that, your daughters were at this party, your wife who was pregnant at the time. And one minute you're just at a nice little family party, and the next minute it's torn by violence without warning. And we talk about this a lot on our show. What do you say to people who say, you know what, you're just supposed to call the police when these things happen and just sit back and wait? Like, what do you say to those people that make those comments?
Well, I mean, an event can turn, 180 real quickly, and I'm that proof that, it can go from a beautiful, everything is great situation till 1 second, turns into complete chaos. In my situation, everything was great. All of a sudden I hear this loud sound. I turn around and, there's a massacre going on. If we would have waited for the cops, I mean, we would have all been dead. They would have just responded to, hey, a lot more casualties, now, women and children are dead. And that's just something that, I cannot rely on. We cannot rely on, the government, the cops or any type of law enforcement to protect us. I mean, they're not there every second, every minute, every day, right by our sides to, protect us. So the Second Amendment, for that reason, was put in place, by our founding fathers, to give us the opportunity for a fighting chance to just be able to protect ourselves. It's our God-given right.
Yeah, and yet people like you are being threatened that they're going to take their guns away from law-abiding citizens.
Like,
but yet, do you think that the guy that came in there with a gun would have still came in there with a gun if there would have been a sign on the door that said "No guns allowed"?
Of course not. I mean, he still would have came in. That wouldn't that would be nothing for him to turn around and be like, "Oh, I'm not welcome here. I can't have my gun."
But you, as a law-abiding citizen, may have left your gun in the car.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. That people just got to wake up and realize that these laws are only for law-abiding citizens.
Right.
Correct.
It's so crazy. So, Arizona, we are a constitutional carry state. I serve on the board of the AZCDL, and we were instrumental in securing that. So we don't need a permission slip to conceal carry. Have a firearm on us in a concealed manner. Did that play a role in this for you, or had you gone and gotten your concealed carry permit at some point?
No, I did not have my concealed carry permit. Strictly relied on that, on the constitutional carry. Ever since Arizona became a constitutional carry state, I mean, it just gave me peace of mind. Like, I don't have to go get a CCW.
Right.
I'm going to carry, concealed on a daily, and I carry religiously, and thankfully, I thank God for that.
Yes.
For Arizona being a constitutional carry state that allowed me to just, carry and protect myself. No one ever thinks that they're going to be put in that situation. I never thought, but of course, we carry just knowing that it can happen. And now the proof that it happened.
And that's part of it too, is I think of the times that, every once in a while I might get a little lax where I'm like, well, I'm just going over to
the neighborhood party.
Yeah, I'm just going over to so-and-so's house and it'll be fine. I don't need to try to figure out where to, carry the firearm in this particular outfit. With girls, maybe it's a little bit different, because we carry in a bunch of different places, especially in the summer where it's so hot here in Arizona. And we wear, sleeveless things and shorter skirts and that sort of thing. And, hearing your story, it's like, you could have easily said that day, well, what do I need the firearm for? I'm just going over to so-and-so's house. And thank God you didn't, just kind of relax into that.
Yeah. And typically there has been situations or times where I do forget my firearm.
Mm-hmm.
And since I am just going, hey, I'm just going here, I'm going to a friend's house,
Exactly.
I don't even turn around, go back home and get it.
I look at
probably
this,
not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
My stomach just got really upset when I thought about, okay, so you got shot in the head. You're laying there. If you would have been stayed unconscious, then you would have woke up to everyone dead.
Right.
Everyone dead. So you not carrying your gun, that would have happened. Or if you wouldn't have been able to wake up in the time that you woke up, that would have happened. Mm-hmm. How could you even how would you be able to live with yourself with that?
That'd be so hard. But it wouldn't have been his fault, obviously.
No, not his fault, but you think, what can I do?
I get it.
Yeah.
Just being a person that carries religiously, and if I would have, woken up and, knowing that I could have done something about it, but I wasn't prepared, and then more people died, then yes, I would have been living.
Especially family members. Wow,
that is so
But
crazy.
Thank you very much for what you did.
Absolutely. So what do you say? I mean, we've mentioned, we feel like, God, kind of placed you there, and that you had the advantage of constitutional carry, and that you were a forward-thinking, preparedness-minded person. But what do you think, were there other things that were specifically that you credit for why you were prepared in the way that you were? Any special training? Because that's another thing people say. Well, law enforcement and military, they are highly, highly trained, and so they can do these kinds of things. But we mere citizens can never be trained enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you say to that?
I mean, I give credit to being introduced to firearms at a young age, learning the responsibility of, handling a firearm. I can still remember 6, 7 years old. I mean, shooting my first rifle. It was an AK-47. We're in the middle of nowhere at a ranch out in California. And my dad's like, you want to shoot? And me as a little kid, he gets behind me and I shoot. And after that, I was just hooked.
Yeah.
Just, him just engraving these rules or morals, or I don't know how to explain it, just about gun safety, that alone right there is what got me comfortable, got me to respect the firearm, and just to realize that it's not a toy. So, I mean, at a really young age, I knew what they were capable of. And after that, it was just, let's go out shooting. Okay, we're going to go shooting, but this is that. This is how you handle a gun. You never point it at a person unless they're a threat. And if you're going to point it at a person, then you better be ready. You're going to squeeze the trigger. Unless you're going to squeeze the trigger, you never point a firearm at a person. And, just the little things he engraved in my head, I give credit to that. And then growing up and being older and being able to buy my own firearms, just going out to shoot with friends and just, cleaning them and just learning the mechanism. This is that, this is how it works. And that's what I give credit to. I mean, it's nothing, it's not no rocket science that I went through to be able to learn how to handle a firearm and be able to protect myself and my family. It's just the little things of just getting comfortable. This is how they work.
And the shame of it is the younger generation is being taught that guns are bad, and they're not being taught the safe handling of firearms. And so, that's something that you having young kids, going to have to keep training the kids that guns aren't bad. The guns are good.
They're a tool like any other tool.
They're a tool, exactly.
And for you to have grown up in California,
yes,
right? I mean, maybe back
California.
then it wasn't quite as restrictive with firearms, but you're a young guy, so
It was probably.
I feel like it probably was.
It still was. I mean, I was born in the late 80s, and by the time I was, older, those gun laws were there, ARs were already banned,
Yeah.
So
AKs, high capacity magazines.
I
And
see you have one of those behind you there. Are you worried that that gun's going to get up and do something by itself?
of course not.
Well, in the news, they say they do.
right.
Which, speak of the news, I mean, so if your story was publicized everywhere, then it may make people that are criminals think twice before they go, especially in Arizona, to someone and threaten them because they may not make it through it. We don't put this out on the news. And so really it causes more crime by not putting it on the news.
Right.
So true. And what I was thinking when you were talking about living in California is if this had happened in California, either you would have probably been in trouble with the law because
I
you
would have been
were
arrested, that's for sure.
right, because you were concealed carrying without a permit, without a permission slip by the government, maybe even the magazine capacity. I don't know what firearm you used at the time, but yeah. So instead of saying, as Arizona did, oh, thank God you were there and you saved lives, California would have said, well, you're just as bad as the guy that walked into the party unprovoked and started murdering people.
Yeah, it's exactly.
That is so
But wait,
crazy.
isn't California
And
part of the United States?
I don't know, barely.
Yeah. Don't they have a constitution?
Hanging on by a thread. And, some of us, we always want to know, okay, why did this guy do this? As though that would help us then, predict the next thing that's going to happen or where it's going to happen. Sometimes that helps and sometimes it doesn't. Do we know anything about that piece of the story?
As of right now, no.
He's not talking.
Well, he's not talking. That's true.
He's not talking.
He's not talking.
That's great. I like it that way.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
did he have did he live with other people in the house next to you, or did he have a family there, or was he just a loner, or what was he? Do you know?
Honestly, I know he was going through a divorce, and from what I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how correct or how accurate this is, but I know he did have kids and a wife or ex-wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
So sad.
But in that
So
house,
sad.
I don't know if he was by himself or who he lived with.
Right. So surviving and healing from a trauma of something like this. I mean, there's the physical trauma, there's the emotional trauma that you and your family experienced while you were there, and your friends. How are you doing? How is everybody doing?
I mean, a situation like this is kind of hard to get over.
Sure.
And the only thing I give credit to for being in the state of mind that I am now is, of course, my family, mainly my family, and just knowing that they're alive.
Yes.
Knowing that I was able to meet my unborn child, which, she's 4 months now.
Awesome.
And just seeing her little smile. She's at that stage where I look at her and I give her a little stare and I make a funny face and she just starts laughing and she gives that big smile. So that smile there is just, makes it worth it. And this is on the, I guess you could say, emotional side, or on the, state of mind side. I still get flashbacks.
Sure.
If I'm outdoors or, I'm somewhere where there's a lot of people.
Sure.
I try not to, but there's situations like where I start panicking and
Sure.
I gotta sit back, take some deep breaths, and I just get a little overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
But of course, I hold back, meaning like I just try to show that face and to my family like I'm okay, because I just don't want it to rub off on my daughters and my wife that it's affecting me that bad. So I gotta be that role model, like, hey, it's okay. Just things like this happen, but we're not going to let it take over our life.
Wow.
So
your family's the same way. I mean, they're going through, they were there, they're going through a lot too, but you have you're training them to use the firearms.
Correct.
You're training them to be aware and just, that I think that is an asset too. So
yeah, definitely. So just, yeah, exactly. Training them, showing them to be aware of their surroundings. Don't be that person that's just walking around. You're here, you're there, and you're just literally just zoned out in your own little world. Like, no, you got to be aware of your surroundings behind you.
Or this, right? Down
exactly. We can't be that because you never know. We could be walking, you could be walking to the car, checking your phone, and all of a sudden the unexpected happens.
Absolutely.
Well, nobody could understand what you're going through, and it's going to take years probably for you to, or never to recover from, the thoughts, what if this, what if that. But, I mean, if I stub my toe, I have nightmares for a month. So I could not imagine what you're going through, and
you're
just awesome.
Emotionally, I'm doing a lot better.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, physically, yes. I do a lot of posts, like I'm feeling great, recovery, but, I still suffer from these massive, migraines that just come and go. It's just pain here in the back of my head and just throbbing. And I did go see a doctor, and since my right eardrum blew,
yeah,
I occasionally get vertigo where I just start feeling lightheaded, like I just want to, black out, and just I start seeing like back in the day when you're watching TV and you're not getting good signal, you start seeing the pixelations of black and white, I start seeing all that. So there's still going to be some time to recover. I still have more surgeries like that eardrum. My ENT wants to wait. He wanted to wait a full year to see how much it can heal on its own before he, plans for a surgery to try to repair that tear.
Okay.
For my eye, the actual bone shifted of my eye socket, or my nose structure, to the side. So they need to go in there, open it up, grind off some bone, put like an implant plate or something, to kind of structure the eye socket. And then they can stretch my eyelid, to try to make it symmetrical to my other eye. And then since it blew off a lot of my lower eyelid, they want to pretty much either graft a new piece or take some from my good eyelid and implant it there, so then I can get a prosthetic eye. So, surgeries and everything in recovery, it's still gonna take some time. I'm just hoping at least, those headaches and vertigo and just that alone goes away with time. So we will see.
Well, we'll be wrapping you in prayer for sure, because I can only imagine the physical aspects as well. And so this clearly has impacted your job, your work. What was your trade, or what is your trade?
I was in sales. So I owned my own home security company.
Okay.
Commercial, residential. I went into solar sales. That did take a lot of walking, going into people's houses, setting up appointments, knocking doors, everything like that. So definitely my job was a whole, I had to be a people person, meeting people, talking, and just, pretty much just getting them comfortable with me. Well, of course, after this happened, it just makes it that much harder. Can I walk a lot? Maybe I can, but eventually I'll start getting that headache, or maybe I'll get lightheaded. Going into strangers' homes, it's a little more difficult now because you never know. It just makes me think twice, getting those panic attacks and things like that. So as of right now, I'm just focusing on healing. I do want to get back to work as soon as possible. I just want to be able to heal before, I do any of that.
That's smart. That's really smart. I'm glad you're in a situation that you and your family are still doing okay, I assume, financially and so forth.
Thankfully, we had some savings. We've had some support from, of course, having a GoFundMe.
Is that still active?
It's still active.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that when we're wrapping up, or actually tell folks now, like how would somebody chip in?
Just if you actually go into my social media page, my Instagram, there's a link down there that just kind of takes you where it'll give you a list of all my social media platforms, my GoFundMe, or if you even just search my name, Raul Mendez.
Okay. And are you the only Raul Mendez I'm going to find, or how do I?
Probably I'll be one of the first up there.
Okay.
It's actually, the GoFundMe's titled let me see. I think it's Survivor of a Mass Shooting.
Okay. We will put that on your guest page
I
and be sure that
appreciate it.
that's easy for people to find. Well, we need to wrap up. I know you've that your little one's got a doctor's appointment today, and the good daddy that you are, you're taking her over there. But I want to touch on that you are going to honor us by being a speaker at the 10th annual Celebrate and Protect the Second Amendment Rally event.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Me too. This is a family-friendly festival-style event. It's always been on the lawn of the Arizona State Capitol. This year, we're right across the street at the Wesley Bolin Plaza in downtown Phoenix. It's on Saturday, February 18th of 2023 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tell folks why you feel that your voice is an important part to lend to this event.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, alone, just I am the living proof. I am living proof. Mm-hmm. This rally's about the Second Amendment, our God-given, right. And people need to know why it's that important.
Absolutely.
The media, have I been, I did get shot. I was going to say shot, but if I had died that night, and nobody would have stood up to, the gunmen and took them out or protected themselves, I definitely would have been one of the most famous men, in America. Even Tucker said, when I had my interview with Tucker Carlson, he just looked baffled and he was like, I don't understand why you're not the most famous man in America.
Absolutely.
I wanted to respond. I'm like, because it's not in the, liberal media agenda for me to be the most famous man in America.
Right. Really, the Kyle Rittenhouse, that's a household name, right? You should be that well known that, here's an example. We hear the name Raul Mendez. We go, oh yeah, that's that example of constitutional carry in action, self-defense in action, saving lives with this particular tool, the firearm. And it's infuriating to me.
Yeah, I just think
we don't get to talk about it more.
I think if any politician that wants to ban guns could look you face to face and still give a reason why they think guns should be outlawed, I don't think they could do it. How could you do that? You saved many people's lives. You risked your life even more after you were shot, because if you'd have just laid there, then he would walk past you. He wouldn't, so you don't know that when you got up, he might have shot at you again. So you risked your life. And how can a politician say guns are bad?
Yeah.
I'm sure they still would. They probably would have been like, well, if there were stricter gun laws, that gunman wouldn't have been there. But see, that's the thing. Gun laws and gun restrictions, they don't work on criminals. Exactly. Criminals will always get their hands on firearms no matter what. And I mean, we have other countries, we have other states as examples where there's really strict gun laws, but yet their cities are some of the most, dangerous cities in the United States.
But they blame it on other states bringing the guns in. Right. They always have an excuse. So their goal is all guns gone. But that can't happen. Okay. And the criminals will be the last ones that have guns. They will have guns.
Exactly.
And it just makes you sick. I mean, it's just like no gun zone. It doesn't work.
Right.
Exactly. And actually, I was at this NRA summit, and first of all, honestly, with my story, the NRA was the one that actually, wanted to run with it and really, really push it out there. Excuse me. And, I'm thankful for the NRA. I've been a member and I will continue to be a member, supporter. I mean, I reach out to them and, and it's just, if it wasn't for them, I'm sure you and I wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't be speaking at the rally. I wouldn't have been connected with Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
with all these other people that wanted to interview me. They are the ones that kind of put me on the map to be able to speak and tell my story.
Absolutely.
And they do so much, and they've done so much for me. And honestly, like, again, if it wasn't for the NRA, I mean, my story would still be even more buried.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I live in Arizona and I didn't hear it.
Right. No,
this is the first I've heard of your story.
That's exactly right. I saw your NRA video, and then our mutual friends in the NRA connected us. And then I saw you on Tucker and reminded me, oh gosh, yeah, I gotta reach out to Raul. And so yeah, I think that's properly placed appreciation. But you are such an inspiration. I mean, truly, in so many ways. And I just appreciate you taking this time with us, and that you're going to come out to the rally on the 18th of February, 2023 at the Arizona State Capitol. And I mean, that is going to be a busy, bustly place, but we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that you feel comfortable, your family feels comfortable. And I know, I mean, that's a stretch for you. And that you will take that stretch to help encourage others and put yourself in a position to speak to others. That's huge. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you guys. Really appreciate being there. Like I said, I'm trying to just hit the ground, running with this story. And for that reason, since I've always been a Second Amendment supporter and, I'm that living proof that it saves life. I don't want it stripped away from me or anybody. I want everybody to be prepared. And if, I can motivate somebody, teach somebody the importance of, daily caring, then I feel that that's my job now that, God gave me, along with, being here for my family, but he gave me this opportunity to really speak up and show people and, show them the importance of the Second Amendment. So, thank you guys. I really appreciate, the invite to speaking, even though I haven't really spoke in public. The first time I spoke was at the NRA summit, which was great. A little nervous, but I was able to speak. And then this year, actually, we'll be going out to the what is it, the annual event that the NRA has, and hopefully they'll put me up there to speak in front of a lot of people. So getting comfortable with that, but I'm on for the challenge. And as of right now, I do apologize if I'm a little too nervous or I get stuck or anything up there, speaking, but just bear with me.
Raul, they want to hear your story, and your story does it all for you.
Yeah.
You just need to repeat what you just went through.
That's
and
true.
They're not going to be looking at, oh, you know what? He looks this way when he should have looked straight, or this. They're going to be wanting your story. That's all they want. They want to hear your story.
That's true. And I am blessed to be the MC, so I'll be right there with you, welcome you on stage, and right there with you on stage as much as you want me to be. So I'm excited. I feel honored that you are that you've said yes. And I know you've got to get running, get that baby to the doctor's office.
Yes.
And we will be talking to you real soon. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
We'll see you. Bye-bye. Wow, what a story.
What a story. And usually we end with tell folks how they can find you. And I know that we're really running long for what he told me, our time frame. And so he did give us some information on, go to his Instagram page and that sort of thing. But more so than maybe any guest, I want to be sure that everybody knows to go to Gun Freedom Radio, click the guest tab, and his videos, the Tucker video, the NRA video, a couple of news stories about him are there. And then I'll be sure that I posted the GoFundMe, the Instagram, all that stuff, all in a one-stop shop for you. And I mean, I don't know that I personally have ever seen a GoFundMe that I didn't feel was worthy of supporting, but holy cow.
Right. It's going to be hard because he can't work right now.
I'm telling you. And I don't know, the medical bills, it really piles up.
Yeah. And just $5 or $10 really helps because it's added,
Absolutely.
But, on the guest tab, you said, you can go see the Tucker Carlson interview and all that. Can you see the CNN one?
Yeah.
or the BBC or MBN, MSBN, blah, blah, blah.
I'll keep looking for those because
They're
this
not there.
story is worthy of telling on all of those stations.
Right.
There's
I'm
no
so
reason not to tell this story.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've ignored it tells you so much. They lie by omission constantly.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
a story it's got everything that they would want, right? That's drama, right? They've got
it's a story,
the whole thing, and then they ignore it. Anyway, I don't need to keep beating that horse, but I'm just amazed by his strength, his composure. I'm hoping his family's going to come out to the rally. I'd love to meet the family because a lot of times that support group is what helps people get through, and he must have an extraordinary wife and family as well. So I'm just not even sure what more to say, and especially that whole angle of if this had happened in
fill in the blank,
pick your anti-right state of your choosing.
Would that be Democratic states? Is it a coincidence?
And it's not a political issue.
Yes, it is.
Politicians
it is a political. It is.
Are creating a scenario that it has become a political issue, a political football at least.
A good experiment we're going to be seeing here? I just heard the Prime Minister of Canada, it's probably an old thing that I saw on TikTok or Instagram or something, and he says that no handguns can be transferred, no handguns can be sold. So if you have firearms and you die, they cannot be transferred to anybody in the family. And that's going to be an interesting experiment because I don't think their crime has stopped since they did that.
Yeah. Well, let's look at Australia. Let's look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
Right?
It's weird. Maybe, Chicago, the other country, Chicago, California, the other country.
Let me touch on something real quick. Recently, our friend, Dr. John Lott, he runs the Crime Prevention Research Center. And I'm looking on the shelf behind me in the monitor. He's written More Guns, Less Crime. He's written a few really impactful books. He was giving testimony recently in front of Congress. And I listened to it and I said to myself, if these politicians, if these elected officials, whatever you want to call them, were really looking to save lives, then every single thing that John Lott just said would tell them what is going to be effective and what is not going to be effective. And the restrictive laws and all this anti-gun rhetoric is what's not going to be effective. So that tells me right there, they're really not interested in saving lives. Second thing, same person, Dr. John Lott, Crime Prevention Research Center, he wrote an article that says that murder is not a nationwide issue. All right, everybody's saying, oh, there's always this epidemic. Like every year there's an epidemic, they say, of crime having to do with guns. They like to say gun crime, but guns don't commit crimes. People commit crimes, maybe using guns. And he says, if you really look at the plot, the map, where incidents happen, where murder is most prevalent of the entire United States, there's a few little hot spots. Want to guess where those hot spots are?
I would guess it would be Democratic states, controlled states, like Chicago, California.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it. So here's how a politician thinks. They think, not all politicians, but the ones that are anti-gun thinks that if there were no guns at all on the universe, then there wouldn't be guns, crime, right? And there wouldn't be. There wouldn't be violent gun shootings, if there was no guns on this earth.
It would be totally kumbaya. We would just all love each other.
Let's just say we can all go to this
Abel with a rock or anything.
Right. We can go to this planet now. There's a planet that all Earth it's just like Earth. You can get there in a ship and you can all go to this planet And you know what? The first thing we're going to do, we're not going to allow any guns on that planet.
We'll
Now,
all just get along so beautifully.
The first thing is,
won't be
you can't stop it. There's still going to be guns there because somebody's going to bring one. And second is that, I mean, you just can't stop it.
Gosh. You know what? I don't know how
guns
we
are going to always, I mean, if they took all my guns away, you got to stop me from going to Lowe's because I could build one there.
Right.
I could build one with hardware there.
That sounds like a good word problem. Like if I have X number of guns and you took all of them away, how many do I have left? The answer would be some.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing, that red flag law.
You only know about the ones that you know about.
Yeah, the red flag law.
That's appropriate.
And, anybody that's, this, okay, yeah, these are the guns I have. These are the guns I don't have.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when the police come, these are the guns. Yeah, these are the ones I have. Okay.
There was this meme I saw yesterday that the ATF is going to require all AR-15s to have flotation devices attached to them, so you can't lose them in a boating accident.
Oh, yeah. 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 But, that's another story there. We don't even need to go there. With this stock thing is crazy. Anyway, we probably need to go.
We probably do need to go. Thank you so much to our amazing and inspirational guest, Raul Mendez. We live right here in the same state. Haven't gotten to meet him in person yet, but I'm very excited
at the rally
to do that on Saturday, February 18th, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the nation's capital in Phoenix, Arizona. And we have speakers lined up from all over the nation. Great local speakers, great national speakers. It's going to be just a fun day. There's the Junior Patriot Park for all the kids, right? That's an incredible thing, because if we aren't instilling these values in the next generation, guess what? These values will not continue into the next generation.
Right. I was just hearing you talking about the rally, and I remember there used to be a place called Beeline Dragway. It was up in the mountain area there that, they'd have drag races, and they would say, "Bring your camera."
Right.
And so bring your camera to the rally. Exactly. Well, who doesn't have a camera anymore?
Well, it's on your cell phone. My cell phone anyway, my Apple.
It's not really a cell phone. I think it's a camera that talks. You can talk on.
You might be
right.
It's
not really a cell phone. It's a camera.
You might be right.
Anyway.
It's a laptop.
Yes. Thank you to Raul. And thanks to all of our guests, for all of our listeners. Absolutely. Wherever there is internet, we have viewers and listeners, and we appreciate you so much. If you want to go back and watch any portion of this video or any of our videos, you can find the videos on. Are we still on YouTube? I don't know. I mean, we're hanging on by a thread. Did we say anything about voting, or did we say anything about Nancy Pelosi, or did we say anything about? That seems to be the hot button. That's the one we've gotten our strikes for. Yeah, is vote, vote. Yeah, vote. We want people to hear this. I want people to vote. I know, but we want people to hear this, so don't get us our third strike. Anyway, go to YouTube, to GunStreamer, to the smartphone app called OpsLens. We're on Rumble now. Our Rumble account is a baby, but it's growing. It's blossoming. It's rumbling out there. So you can find our content on any of those platforms, any place you find your videos. Click the subscribe, the notification, all the fun things, because that tells those platforms that you like this content and you want really more important, like the story that you heard today, that needs to be passed on. It does. We need to share that because the news isn't doing it. Absolutely. So please share it. And if you want to listen to the audio only version of our shows, go to our website, GunFreedomRadio.com. Then I'd have to binge listen to my heart's content, darling. You do, because you'll click the on demand tab and it'll all be there. I wouldn't be able to stop. I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night. That is our plan, actually. Because when you spend time there and looking at the guest tab, as I said, go to the guest tab for Raul Mendez's links and so forth. We don't hate it when you spend time there. We sure don't. All right. Until next time, we are going to pray for this nation, pray for the people who we've elected into leadership positions, and pray to the Mendez family. Pray for the Mendez family. Absolutely. Wrap them in prayer.
and all the Mendez families out there that we're never going to hear about.
Right.
Because the news lies to us by omission.
And you're going to ask me to pray for the politicians that are trying to take our rights away. You were going to ask me that. Watch. Go ahead.
Even the ones you don't like, Dan?
Which ones do I don't like, Cheryl?
The ones that want to take our rights away?
Why is that, Cheryl?
Because we want our rights.
They
don't know better how
it's
to
a God-given right that he gave us, right?
Absolutely.
So
if we pray for them, maybe they'll have an epiphany.
Okay.
Even the ones you don't like. All right.
Well, okay.
Maybe especially for the ones you don't like. All right. Until next time, be good to each other. Have a great week and God bless.
Bye-bye.